Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But
See, I'm more in touch with my and like Portuguese Angolan side more than my Ghanaian side. I wanna.
Do you speak Portuguese?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So it's like
Sick.
my Ghanaian side, from my dad's side, I really wanna, you know.
Do you speak like slang Portuguese or like proper Portuguese?
Both. So with my mum,
because I know some phrases like
proper.
"como que," it's like, I don't know if that's a
Como
"como que,"
que,
it's like what's good, kind of like
como estás, and that stuff like that is slang. So that's like I think a picture on your Instagram. Were you in Portugal or was it?
Yeah, I was.
I thought you were Portuguese.
No. But I was in Portugal last year around, I think, July time.
Yeah, because I was looking. I saw the location. I was like, no way, you're from Portugal.
Yeah,
because then I saw you look Portuguese as well.
Yeah.
So what country are you actually from?
I'm Lithuanian.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But my friend, so I went there. So I was meant to be going there for like a festival, Rolling Loud festival.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I'm going to actually this year.
Yeah, so I went there for that, and then obviously it wasn't happening, did it, whatever. But I still wanted to go on holiday, and then plus my friend, he obviously lives in Portugal, and he lived in Portugal at that time. He just moved away, but so obviously I went to see him as well. And yeah, man, I went to one of the hoods, whatever, in Portugal. It was alright. It was lit, and then just had a decent.
When you go to the hoods in Portugal, it's weird, isn't it? Like, you wouldn't. It's very different to like when you come to UK and you class.
Everyone's kind of mixed, but see the hood in Portugal, which was really interesting. It's like there was like an area where everyone's kind of segregated from the rest of the like Portugal. It was really weird, man. I was just like, raw, like
it's like when in the 70s they opened up Portugal. That's when everyone from the colonies in Africa moved to Portugal. And so Angola, Sao Tome, Cape Verde, and like. It's the first time Portugal opened up their borders to the world. So Portugal was very backwards before they opened themselves up. There was no such thing as clubs, Western music, even things like drugs. Drugs was the first time that drugs came to Portugal. And even my mum's generation was the first time they actually got introduced to that type of stuff. And it was a really big problem, especially heroin and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And what happened was when they got brought to Portugal, they just dumped them all in one place.
Yeah.
And said, live by yourself. So a lot of times when you go to the hoods, you can see that a lot of times people built their own houses like a favela.
Yeah.
And it's generations of that. So you imagine coming out of that, you know, my mum's generation is the first generation of people actually coming to the UK and living a life. So it's a mentality as well. Because obviously when you get put in that and you're not almost included in society, you develop your own way of doing things. That's why when you said Portuguese slang, it's very common there. It's a lot of times Creole as well. It's a big language there. And it's because they never really got integrated well into society. It's not like the UK. I feel like the UK done a much better job for that. But in Portugal, it's very, very different. So when you come back to, especially my grandma hasn't got experience living normally. Like she doesn't act like she's from, you know, I don't want to say she's not civilized, but she's not very Western. She's still very much like she's from back home, which is nice to see because you feel that culture in yourself. But at the same time, you can see how like the problems it causes when you just dump people in a certain area and just think you can just.
Do you ever think about how incredible it is and how brave your mum had to be to move to another country?
Oh, my mum's a soldier. Literally, she came to this country, she worked her way up to a place where she can give her kids all the opportunities that she never had. Even things like, for me to be able to live with my mum and have my mum support me while I go and get a university education is mind blowing. Because when my mum came to the country, she was 25 and she got a nursing degree all by herself. So she worked, she had to cook for herself, she lived by herself, and she formed a life with basically nothing when she came to this country. And now she's been able to, now the life she lives now, where she's given her kids basically everything, is something that inspires me. And it's one of the reasons why I started on this journey, because I thought it's almost as if every generation, my family has flipped it. So my grandparents came from Africa to Portugal to live a better life. That's one. And now my mum comes to England and tries to live a better life. That's another thing. So it's my job now to, flip it again and make something better for my family. And the only way really is to build a platform to help other people also get the same opportunities. The way you guys are doing with this podcast is just let people know that, there's a creator economy. There's something out there for you to, get into and tap into and obviously make an income and living off it. Obviously, I'm not at that stage yet, but it's one of my aspirations. To prove to people like, yo, like, if you're a creative person and you feel like education may not be the best route for you, you can really go out there and earn an income and connect with people and improve people's lives through creating podcasts, YouTube, anything like that. I feel technology is not at a stage where, even if obviously this production value is crazy, but it can be as small as getting a live mic from Amazon and hooking it up to yourself and talking about something that's meaningful to you and expand on that. It doesn't take a lot to start. Like, for me, starting creating, now I've gotten to the stage where I'm invested in lenses, cameras and stuff like that. But when I started...
How did you start? And also, let's talk about what you do as well, just before you get into how you started as well. And who you are, and what you do, yeah.
So my name is, Jonathan, of course, Jonathan Doku. And I create videos. I feel like to really put a name to what I create, I'm not at that stage yet because it's still pretty early, but I started making self-improvement videos.
Yeah.
So for me, there's different ways to classify self-improvement. For me, a lot of times, if you search up on YouTube, the self-improvement that they talk about is stuff that's not really why. So masculinity and red pill, blue, all that type of stuff. That's not the type of stuff I'm into. I like self-improvement in terms of philosophy, creativity, entrepreneurship, all those different types of stuff. And what I started was productivity, because I feel like the foundation of anything you want to build in life is how productive you are, how the systems and the habits that you produce, because habits compound. And it all started when my first year sixth form, I failed. And when I failed and I saw all my friends going on to their second years and obviously to university, it hurt me a lot because it was all my fault. And I realized the number one thing that caused me to fail that year is my productivity and my habits. And it's almost as if I realized the foundation of anything in life is your habits and your productivity and your self-improvement, how you see the world. And now, as I venture more into self-improvement, I ended up finding philosophy, and one of my favorite authors, Ryan Holiday, completely changed my life because it made me realize, the way I've been thinking has a large impact on the way I was living my life. And I don't know, especially in the UK, when you leave secondary school, it's almost as if like a blanket has been taken off from you and you're exposed to the real world. And when you get to that stage, when you go to college or sixth form, you start to see everybody go in their different directions and what they want to do in life. So one person does apprenticeships, another person wants to go the academic route, another person wants to get a job.
But no one's really 100% sure though.
No one's 100% sure. So it's like, you don't really have any guidance. And I feel like self-improvement and philosophy was my guidance because it gave me the long-term view about what I wanted to do with my life. And then I was really interested in self-improvement, but it got to the point where it's like I was itching. I was like, how can I produce this into the world? Because it's all good consuming this content and loving it, but how can I create something out of it? Do
you know what I like about your videos, yeah? I like the fact that you would actually use a person, an individual, as a comparison, and you would kind of study them. So for instance, like J. Cole or Malcolm X, you would look at them and you kind of like look at like, cool, this is what they've done. And this is how you process it, and then you put it out there as content. I think that's beautiful.
That's literally like my guiding philosophy in terms of my videos. So my most recent video, like the one that's coming out now, is going to be about Mike Tyson's career. And the main premise of the video is how self-improvement won't save you. Like an example is what self-improvement is. So everyone thinks self-improvement is this idea that you're going to go out there and you're going to build yourself and develop yourself so you can be something in the world. But that's exactly the thing that Mike Tyson done. But you see how it kind of destroyed him, because when you really think about it, self-improvement won't save you. You can look at Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was heavyweight champion at 20. He was like an Mbappe winning the World Cup at 20. He was in the most respected sport in the world. And he was so young. He self-improved himself to 100 kilograms of pure muscle and is beating grown men. Do you get what I'm saying? To the point where by the time he was 25, he was in jail for 3 years. And as his career progressed, he slowly plateaued. And it shows that no matter how much you try to self-improve yourself in the world, if you don't fix those internal demons and stuff like that you've been going through in your life, no self-improvement is going to save you.
Do you know what, though? There's something really interesting about age as well, right? So for instance, like I remember I was listening to I can't remember what podcast it was, but it was talking about how someone was really grateful that they succeeded by the time they were like 30 rather than they were 20. Because sometimes when people are younger and they get all the success thrown at them at a certain point, they don't know how to handle it. It's too much. So they end up just like doing this or doing that and whatever. And they end up like kind of almost failing like with the success that he got. And just sometimes having it later is not necessarily a bad thing because
I feel like
people are in a better place to receive it.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And adding on to that point, I was going to say having it later might be the best thing because you have your experience of what life is actually like. So you know what you can appreciate and what you can maintain. A real problem, especially young people, is that we have a sort of naivety in life. You know, I haven't experienced a lot of life. So I feel like when I was younger, especially my aspirations were, you know, I want to have a big house, a big car, I want millions of pounds in my bank account. I want to be highly successful and stuff like that. But then especially when I started reading and I started to analyze these very, you know, amazing and famous people, you start to see underlying, they're not happy. And that's why I started to really look at people's careers and think, what is actually the key to success in life? Is it external success? A lot of money, cars, clothes, a lot of Instagram followers? Because as you look closer, these people have crazy drug addictions. Their family life is an absolute mess. And you're just thinking, is that really the definition of success?
Yeah. They're just someone that's suffering and they're also just making money while suffering. It doesn't mean they're happy in life and whatnot. So, but I do think that money brings a certain level of comfortability, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I don't think it solves issues or problems. I think that's just something people need to accept, that it's something that's going to be there for the whole life. You know, there's always something to be sorted or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just how it goes, really.
Yeah. How do you feel about that then, in terms of your definition of success? So you got the external definition of success, which everyone thinks, which is, you know, high Instagram followers, a lot of money, nice car, nice girlfriend. Do you get what I'm saying? Like status symbols and stuff like that. But there's internal success where we have that already, which is love, family, appreciation, which is another reason why one of my creative inspirations is J. Cole, because he champions these type of things. Even though he has everything, he still champions the idea of love, family, those internal things that really make life worth living. I just want to wonder where you stand in terms of, you know, where you see your idea of success really centering around.
I think for me, it's about bringing value to the world, right? So I think I'm not selfish, and to be honest, like a lot of the time I used to be much more selfless than I am now. So I kind of like I've been on this journey to become a little bit more selfish because that's something I struggled with. So I used to be super selfless, you know, all about other people and stuff. But I realized actually like I love the world, even though like obviously I think in the world is you know, where we choose to look at, you know, the messed up things or the positive things. So I kind of try to look at the beautiful things, because like me looking at all these negative things happening all the time, it's not going to bring me any like happiness or joy and whatever. So for me, it's all about bringing some sort of value. And obviously the podcast is one of them, but also in real life, I do youth work outside of the podcast and stuff, youth leadership stuff. So I'm already doing something towards it, and that's kind of like my purpose. But to be completely honest with you, I think for me, like things constantly change like internally. So like I always feel different about certain things, and you know, as time goes on, I develop certain things. You know, you spoke about the red pill, the blue pill thing, whatever. Like my opinion on those things have changed over the years, you know, like, and I feel like it's just, as human beings, we're constantly like changing. And you know, you spoke about self-improvement. So I think the way I would describe self-improvement is constant. It's a constant journey of like, also, I'm going to use the word self-development. Because for me, self-development is improvement. Because when we develop, like something's changing, like our perspective's changing, our outlook on certain things are changing. So I think that's definitely a key. It's just that quote. So one of my favorite quotes, and I don't know if I came up with this or I heard it somewhere, but when we change on the way we look at things, the things we look at change. You know, so it's very important. Actually, so it's very important to kind of sometimes just draw back internally and just go like, you know what? Am I looking at that thing the wrong way? We all had like a friend where someone maybe said something and we took it the wrong way, and then we clarified it after it wasn't that. So this happens on a bigger scale.
Yeah, and I feel like perception is such an important thing. I feel like as time has grown, and that's why I say I haven't really got a fully solid idea of what my videos are, because my perceptions of life are continuously changing. So one thing that I'm going through right now, and because I'm obviously quite young, and when you go into the self-improvement space or self-development space, when you start, I was very naive. So a lot of times self-help will promote to you. You need to be happy all the time. You need this, you need that. And then as you get older, you start to realize how my naive perspective doesn't really fit in the world I live in. You know, it's almost as if like, you know, for example, the book, The 48 Laws of Power, is a very, very important book for me because it opened my eyes to what life actually is, you know, what human nature really is. And the process of evolution, or like, not the evolution, but the process of evolving yourself as a person is really altering your mind to the way the world actually is. So it's like, for example, a lot of times the people we admire had to do a lot of things which may not really align in terms of integrity and being a good person. A lot of things that, in terms of society, the people that we value, the things that they done to get there have been, let's just say, really shady.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? And sometimes we have a naive perspective on people. We think, oh, these people are just intrinsically good. They done what they done to better the world. But then you start to really underline, like you start to really see what they've done, and it's all almost a bid for power to be a better person within themselves, almost like a selfish, you know, pursuit. I don't know how to really explain.
No, I get you. Like, what do you think about that phrase of like hurt people?
Yeah.
Because that's sort of like, when I was talking about, I was just thinking like, you know what? I feel like a lot of the times, like, you know, the whole thing of like being naive and stuff, I don't think it was being naive. I just feel like you had a beautiful perspective of the world and how it should be. But then you met a lot of people who like kind of like maybe been hurt or something's happened, and they change their perspective because of those experiences. So sometimes I feel like we get defeated by an experience, and what that means is like, you know, like we could be an individual who like we see things in a certain way and it's actually serving us and is giving us value, but then we have a bad experience with something, and then we allow that experience to go, you know what, this is going to be my catalyst for why I'm going to change and be a certain way. Where a lot of the times you should go like, I think people should go, and I should do that as well, just go like, yo, like this experience is not going to change me. You know, like I'm going to be better than that. You know, I'm going to be stronger than that. So I feel like people are too easy to give up and just go, you know what, the world is this and and then they just change. And then, you know, and then it creates a sort of cycle.
I feel like it's a big problem, especially the way we've been brought up, is like we use our pain in not the right way. So my example, Mike Tyson, when he grew up, he was bullied. His father wasn't around. His mum was abusive. And he used that pain to craft himself into that fighter that everyone loved, the baddest man on the planet. I don't know if you remember back then when Mike Tyson was killing it in the heavyweight division.
No, I remember, of course.
But the way he used his pain, I feel like the world capitalized on that pain. And that's a big problem. You know, if you use your pain incorrectly, the world has 1,000,001 means to destroy you. Mike Tyson had drug addiction. He had countless women. He had countless money. He wasn't using money in the right way. He had leeches, people using him. But because he wasn't able to confront the real reasons why he was doing everything he was doing, as he was using pain as a driving force, he allowed that pain to destroy him.
But I think going back on the naive, I think he was someone that was naive, and I think what you're talking about with Tyson in general, I think that happens to a lot of people. I think it's still happening till this day.
100%.
I think music industry is definitely one of the biggest ones, because I've heard so many stories, and obviously I'm into like rap, hip hop, and all of that stuff in America, UK, whatever. But then I listen to a lot of these different podcasts and interviews and stuff, and I'm hearing all of these different artists being effed over by the label, and like they get some crazy contracts and they get like locked into this contract, or they can't release music, and it happens now, like, you know, they're being taken advantage of, and that's just one industry, you know.
And there's so much, like, funny you brought that up. I was actually watching a video of DMX, and you know DMX's story. You know, died of a drug overdose at 50, but you look how he used his pain in his music and stuff like that. And you know, I can't really talk on people's situations. A lot of times people have gone through things way worse than me. I've been very blessed in my life, but I do feel like as a whole, people need to, especially me as well, people need to learn how to respond to the pain we feel, you know? Like, I spoke about how J. Cole is one of my favorite creative inspirations. He talked about meditate, don't medicate. You know, society will try to basically give you paracetamols for the emotional pain you're feeling. You know, you're feeling down, let's go out on a night out. Let's go Shoreditch quickly. Let's go have fun. Or you're feeling pain, well, drown yourself in your work, which is a thing I struggle with as well, because my pain responses before used to be, if I'm feeling a certain way about something, I'm just going to forget about it. I'm going to sit down on my laptop, I'm going to record a video and just edit it and spend hours and hours trying to hide from that particular aspect of my life. But the thing is that thing doesn't go away. It just accumulates and accumulates and accumulates. And all of a sudden you're going to have to face it, that mountain that you've been ignoring your whole life, when really, if you faced it and really worked through it and seen the reason why you respond to a certain thing that way, that's the reason why it brings peace. I feel like in terms of the naive perspective I used to have, I feel like that naive perspective is slowly getting broken down as I start to look at myself and realize the reason why I respond to different situations in different ways, because it's the way, you know, through my experiences in life, that's the way I've been taught to respond to different things. Imagine now that I use that pain as a driving force to be someone in this planet. Who would I be by the time I'm 30? I don't know. And I don't think it would have been a good conclusion. And I feel like the world would very much capitalize on that pain, whether it be crazy ambition, thinking it would solve all the problems in my life, to, you know, going into bad relationships and stuff like that because of the way, you know, I'm perceiving the world and the way I'm trying to use the world to respond to my pain. I'm still trying to figure it out, you know. I'm not completely there yet, but it's something that I'm definitely starting to look at.
But do you know what I love about you? Like, you have like a sense of awareness and you have a level of awareness. I'm listening to you now and I'm impressed because like you really get it. Like, obviously you're saying you haven't figured it out, but like you're on the journey of doing so. And, you know, and obviously, you know, how quick you get there, that's entirely up to you. But I feel like you're doing certain things that's helping you. Like, for instance, like obviously, I don't know how often you reflect, but like, you know, doing the YouTube as well and all of that stuff, that's actually going through that process in itself. Like you get to reflect, think about things, and that's an incredible process because you're prompting yourself to do that. And some people, like you said, and some people I think they're incredible at running away from what it is for them. Like I know people, and I think it's easier to see it from a side, kind of from the sidelines. Like it's easier to look at other people and just go like, actually this person's running away from something. You don't know what it is for them internally. But I think for us, because like I feel like sometimes we're so into ourselves, we might not notice it all the time. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like it's incredible to see.
You spoke about reflection. And there's something about reflection that scares me, because I think reflection is mad. It's really risky because, like, so they say noticing the problem is the first step for fixing the problem, right? But most people stop there. Like you hear a lot of people saying, I need to lose weight, or I need to study more, I need to do this, I need to do that. You spend more time saying I need to than actually needing to. You feel me? And a lot of people stop at realization. That's when I realized, like, oh, that's the most dangerous place to stop. Because once you stop there, it's now you're fully, it's like if you want to talk religiously, it's like committing a sin knowing full well was a sin. It's like listening to music, being a Muslim, knowing full well that's a sin, or eating whatever. It's like you know the problem, but you almost refuse to solve it.
Hey, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna put it in a certain way. Yeah, I just feel like people don't respect themselves enough to do that. Like I think there has to be a level of like self-respect to go, like, for instance, like whether it is, if it's like getting in shape or whatever, to go like, you know what, I want to get in shape. Yeah, but people that don't end up doing it, I feel like they don't respect themselves enough, or maybe there's something else, something to do internally.
I feel like it's far more although self-respect does go into it. There are people that have amassed great careers, but they still don't respect themselves. Behind their public perception might be amazing. They might be built their body up to amazing, you know, fitness, and their bank account might be amazing, but behind closed doors, it might not be the case. They still might not respect themselves. They might have, you know, still internal problems within themselves. I feel like the main reason why people are aware of their problems and may not act on it is because the environment might be pulling them another direction. I don't know. I feel like I was very blessed to be brought up the way I've been brought up, to where I've been allowed to my own freedom, and my environment has fueled me to go towards reading books and creating and stuff like that. If someone wants to grow up in an environment where that might not facilitate that, for example, I just finished reading the autobiography of Malcolm X. He always had the academic type of spirit inside him. But as you look through the book, you can see how his experiences and his environment didn't allow him to facilitate that. From the time he was 14 and his teacher told him, you're black, you can't be a lawyer, to when he moved to Boston and began drug dealing because all of a sudden everyone he knew that looked like him was drug dealing. Do you get what I'm saying? So now you got to flip it to a person who's like, grown up in an environment where they're telling you a certain thing and they want to do something else. So like, I feel like one thing about London is that everyone wants to aspire to be a rapper. Everyone wants to aspire to look a certain way.
Or be a footballer.
Footballer and stuff like that. But I feel like, but what about if you want to be a creator that makes videos on self-improvement? But there are not a lot of people that look like me that do that type of thing.
Do you know what's really interesting? Statistically, like they're more likely to make in other areas, like being a doctor or whatever, statistically speaking, than those two, because those are like the most desired. Like,
yeah,
but I think it's changing though. I think that's what I love about like the world today. It's slowly changing. Like obviously, I don't know if you like. I know that you're first immigrant, third generation immigrant.
Yeah, same. Yeah,
you're same as us, and likewise as for me as well. We're
Cheese immigrant gang.
Come on. Like we're surrounded by family members who honestly believe that there is no success other than lawyer, doctor, teacher.
And that's exactly what I'm saying, because, you know, imagine you say you want to make a change in your life and be someone, but your environment is telling you something completely different.
That's the first thing that you can't blame. Firstly, you can't blame them. Like you can't just say, oh yeah, you can't go and think, oh, you as my parent, you're closed-minded or this. No, because your environment creates you, right? But the thing is that, like I said, my dad, for example, I recently explained to my dad that this is what I do, this is my thing. But he never saw, because he wasn't in the country at the time when I started. He only came back to the country after I started gaining some type of success from it. And I had some type of money coming from it. That's when you start seeing the success. That's when you start thinking, okay, cool, this is some type of benefit. He's still kind of pushing me to still stick with retail just to make some confirmed money. But the thing is, I don't know if you would have like kind of supported it at the beginning. And you can't blame them. It's just like a thing of, you know what? I think that's where you turn into an adult and your own person. When you break the barrier of, no, you have to do this, and think, you know what, I believe in myself and I honestly feel like we can do this. And if it fucks up, then I take responsibility for my own fuck up, and then that means that makes me an adult. So
definitely. I think we have a level of responsibility for putting ourselves in a different environment.
Yeah.
I think once we can, because I know obviously there's certain young people who can't do that, like literally cannot do that. But I think Gary Vee talks about it in a really interesting way. He talks about when there's like kids growing up in certain families, right? And their family wants them to like become a doctor or whatever. And it's quite sad, to be honest, because obviously they're forcing their own narrative onto the kid, right? And the kid might want to be might want to be a basketballer, whatever they want to do. So, and he talks about it in a way, it's like the only leverage the parents really have is like they give you a place to live, like they provide you food, whatever. And he goes, take those away and you can do whatever you want. You know, just like get your own place, provide for yourself. And then you can do whatever you want, and it talks about like, how do you take away those sort of like leverages that your parents might have on you?
It's almost like when you get given these luxuries, you exchange, you get a luxury, and with the luxury comes an environment that might not allow you to be creative. If you take the luxuries, the environment goes with it. So you have the full creative freedom, but sometimes full creative freedom is too much. Like too many apples gives you diabetes kind of thing.
Yeah.
So having full creative freedom is overwhelming. So like at the beginning of your life, it makes sense, cool, like given a house and food and all these things, because you can't do that for yourself. But at what point should I be let to be flown kind of thing? Like,
so
let this fly?
I've got a question for you. So in terms of the way you bring up your kids and stuff like that creative free, you would give them everything, of course, but how much control would you want to impose on their certain destiny?
You know, I'll tell you an epiphany I had whilst I was taking the shit a couple months ago. Yeah. Has nothing to do with story, but I just wanted to make sure.
You know, people say like creative ideas come from like when you're in the shower, when you're walking. Like for Aladdin, it's just like, we're taking a dump.
Alright, so here's my epiphany. Yeah. For creative people, secondary school and uni and college is close to useless. Primary school, is an essential. It teaches you the basics of maths, English, some science, common sense, essentially. After that, school in today's society, not the concept of school. The concept of school and idea of it is amazing. Don't get me wrong, but the execution of it in the 21st century is built to kill entrepreneurs, future entrepreneurs, and Gary Vee said actually, kill entrepreneurs and kill creative people. And they try to hide it by saying, let's go to art class and drama class and music and all these subjects that are supposedly meant to be pushing creativity, but in reality, no. Because whilst I'm doing my art, my music lesson, I'm thinking about my science homework. I'm thinking about my English homework. I'm thinking about all these other subjects that, quite frankly, I don't give a fuck about. Because look, bro, who actually cares about Shakespeare? If I want to be one of the best artists in the world, or one of the best videographers in the world, or filmmakers, why do I care about Shakespeare? Why do I care about Pythagoras' theorem and flipping Newton and all that, man? If I want to know that shit, I'll go learn it. To this day, I have the ability to go on YouTube or go on Google and know things. I can just know things by this device. So in the 21st century, for starters, the first part to answer your question, school is off the books. Homeschooled after primary.
For real?
Yeah, 100%, bro. I'll teach them everything they need to know.
If
it's adapting, if I have to.
You know what? It's just I just feel like you just gave a speech. No sarcasm.
No, but if it's adapting, if it comes a thing where I have no money to pay for tutors, I'll teach them everything I know. It's like do you remember that I think I can't remember what Fast and Furious it was, but Vin Diesel's character Dominic, whatever, he was talking about how his dad used to stay up late helping his daughter with her homework. And then once she goes to sleep, he'll stay up and read the next chapter so they can help her the following day. That's the kind of parent I would love to be, where anything you don't know, and I don't know, it is my responsibility, the fact that I have the ability to go out and find out, it's my responsibility to find that stuff out, then teach it. I love teaching. I've had a passion for teaching for years. Leo knows this. I started coaching when I was 15 and I loved it. I love teaching stuff I know. So that thing would not be a problem to me. I would be happy to teach. But in terms of creativity, you can't really teach creativity.
Yeah.
That's the scary thing. You can't teach creativity. You can open them to options, which is something I quite like about school. I like how in the first couple of years of school, you do all the subjects. You do drama, you do music, you do tech and this and that. You do all the subjects. And then third, fourth year, that's when you start choosing your options and stuff like that. I kind of like that idea. That's kind of smart. And that's something I kind of want to do for myself. Because my journey started, like my creative journey started from flipping origami. I used to do origami when I was like 12 years old. And then I moved on to maybe color, like learning how to color properly and learning how to draw. I got a drawing of Baby Yoda in my drawer that I did like 3 years ago, something like that. But having that open ability, having that space to kind of try so many other creative avenues, just so you know that, cool, I tried it didn't work at this moment in time. I might revisit it, I might not, but in this time, I'm going to try something else. I'm going to keep trying stuff until I find something that I like. It doesn't have to be creative. It could be sport. It could be being a doctor. It could be being a lawyer. But I don't want my doctor to be someone who used to dream about being a breakdancer. Because mid-surgery, the guy's going to say, fuck it, and he's going to cut. Whereas the doctor that actually genuinely wants to be a doctor, he's going to make sure he stays in that room so my life is saved. You feel me? So if you want to be a doctor, be a doctor.
And do you know what I find so crazy as well, though? It's like, how many people's careers have been designated by their parents and they don't even want to do it?
Scary, man.
Scary.
It's
crazy.
And it makes sense because these first generation immigrants, they've suffered, like the parents, sorry, they've kind of suffered through having to live in a society where creativity was not a thing. Like you had to be a doctor, lawyer, this or that, or you're living in the slums in favelas or living under a bridge. To come to a country like the Western world where creativity is, if anything, is promoted more than other countries, but it's kind of promoted and pushed for. This is a foreign concept to them. When I used to tell my mom I want to make videos, I go do videos. She's like, what the fuck is that? Like, it's a foreign concept to them. And I'd love to kind of dissect their mind and understand how that makes sense to them. But it's a foreign concept to them. So having to like break that barrier and kind of like say, you know what, I know you don't understand this. And I know that you're scared and you're scared out of love. You're not scared out of spite or anything like that. You're scared out of love. I understand it. But I'm a big man now. I'm a big girl now. I'm a big person now. I'm going to do my thing the same way you did your thing when you was younger. Because your parents have stories, bro. Our parents have stories. I'll tell you that from now. They have stories that we have no idea about. And having that understanding is powerful, man. Like as a parent, having that understanding that what I've been through, they will have to go through it. They will have to go through their first kiss and their first chop or their first, I don't know, like theft experience, or they have to go through all that stuff. That's inevitable. And it's scary to kind of understand, like to witness the fact that your child is about to get robbed or is about to have that pregnancy scare or that kind of stuff.
Bro, I end up robbing my own child, bro.
Prepping it from the heart.
Like one day, yo, what you got for me, bro?
But Dad did that, bro. I used to work on £3.50 an hour. He took off my money.
I was just trying to teach you a lesson, you know what I'm saying? No, but yeah, that's true, mad. Man. That's mad. But you know what's like, I've got like good expectations for like next generation parents, you know, because I feel like I hope that people are gonna learn from their own experience and go, you know what, like when I was younger, my parents kind of forced me to do this, so I don't want the same thing for my kids. So I just hope that, you know, that's what's gonna happen as we go along.
I think that's the beautiful thing about parenting is that every single generation is progressing over the last one. And that's why we are in such an advanced civilization today, is because every single generation says, you know what, this is what my parent did wrong, so I'm not going to replicate it. And if that happens every single time that someone has a child.
But it's also that thing of like yin and yang, right? And pros and cons, how we want to like kind of refer to it. But like, even though it does feel like we're making progress, we're also like losing out on some stuff as well. Hence why there's a lot of conversation about like people becoming softer, or like people can't actually have like the whole thing of freedom of speech, true. And people getting cancelled and so on.
It's like a relativity bias, you know? Like, I don't know why sometimes I catch myself complaining about my life and think, how can you complain about when your mum had to go through so much and your grandparents had to go through so much just to get to the position they're in and all the privileges you have? Like, even for me to get up and come and network with you guys and be able to talk on a podcast and talk about issues that we're going through that have nothing compared to what our parents go through is a privilege, you know? To be able to have the freedom for me to even go to university and get a degree and have my mum supporting me and have my family supporting me while I do go and do my degree is something that my parents haven't even thought of, you know? So it's like, but at the same time, it causes us to underappreciate those aspects in our life. So all of a sudden, we're sitting there thinking, oh, look how hard my life is. But then you think, like, bro, it doesn't like, make sense.
Like this happened recently, like a week ago. I was basically ordering food, and I was like ordering a Nando's, and I was looking at different sizes and stuff, and I was thinking, what the fuck? I'm thinking about what size I'm gonna get, and there's in certain countries, like, people got like no water or like no electricity, and I'm thinking like, this is crazy, like how much we actually have, and the whole thing of like, I feel like seeing life, it's so sad, but it's true, it's like, until you lose something, or until you lost something, you don't know what the value of that was or is.
It's kind of like, you know, poet keeps saying this every time he's on the pod or whatever. He says, all you know is what you know until something new gets presented to you. So all I'll ever know as an individual is what I know, is what I've been presented to, is what I've been experiencing, is what I've seen in front of me. I can see that countries in third world countries are suffering and whatnot. I can see it in videos or whatever. But until you go there,
until you know,
until you've been in that space and in that environment, you would never know the experiences they have. All I know is what I know until someone presents I need to. And as far as I know, I've never been to a third world country. I've been to my country, Algeria, which is not really third world, it's more like second world. But in terms of like proper third world countries, all I've seen, my only experience of that is BBC News and UNICEF.
Yeah.
I'm saying, these places kind of make it look like worse than it actually is, so they can push you to donate. And let's not talk about charities, man. Charities are interesting businesses. How I like to say,
businesses.
They're really interesting.
There's a video on my watch later list about that actually, because, you know, one thing I realize is that a lot of times you donate to charity, the whole percentage is not going there, you know.
Look at this way, people. Like me and Leo used to work for a charity. I used to work for a charity. I get paid. I got paid to work for that charity. Where's their money come from?
From the donations and
not necessarily donations, but obviously in my case it would be more like funders or whatnot, innit?
Yeah.
But technically funders are donators, no? Or again, funders donate money to the organization for it to run, because the services we offer were free, so the young people won't pay for nothing.
No, funding and donating are two different things. So funding is when you're funding a particular thing. So for instance, like let's say a charity wants to create a certain project, and then you're funding that particular project. Donating is when you just give money to the charity so they get unrestricted funds. So sometimes to be honest, most of the funding in charity world is like, it's restricted to a particular project. some funding isn't restricted, but donations are just donations. Like donations, just like when they give you money, you got that. However you want to spend it, it's entirely up to you.
But does donation mean giving without receiving, kind of thing?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So
but funders don't receive anything from their funding, right?
Funders do receive, so like they get to brag about who they fund.
Yeah, but I can brag about giving to UNICEF.
No, but also they get in return they get social responsibility. So obviously they got corporate social responsibility. So they have to like like fund someone and give money to charities and causes and stuff.
The initial point I was trying to make is charities are sus nowadays, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd rather like kind of go to the country myself, and you know how like what's it not Kante, was it Money? He spent what's the percentage of his salary he's spending on in things Senegal? Like he says, what am I gonna do with 12 iPhones, 4 cars, three houses and 6 flipping jacuzzis? What am I gonna do with that? Not even one of each. Maybe a phone and a little house and a little transportation vehicle, and the rest of it goes to Senegal. Because like really true, like it's like I don't know about. I like the way he does it because he can give to charity. I think that's like when you're that kind of rich, that's the lazy option. To give to charity is like the lazy option when you have that kind of money, because then you have the ability to hire people to go out there and do things yourself and actually monitor and make sure you know what's going on and where your money's going. When you give to charity, it's a bit scary, man. I've given to charity, don't get me wrong, I've given charity every now and again. But every time I press pay or send or whatever, I always do it with a bit of a shiver because I generally don't know where that money's going.
And I feel like it's like, for me, one part of breaking down my naivety is looking at the real intention of why these people are donating to charity. So, for example, you brought up the thing about, I think there's corporate quotas that they need to reach.
Yeah, corporate social responsibility.
So it's like, in terms of my naive perspective, is that for a period of time, because I started to open myself up to the world, realizing that they're not really donating because they want to change the world, but they want to do it to reach certain metrics for their company to look in a certain way. It started to make me think, okay, so morality really doesn't win. Morality is not something that is a prerequisite to winning something and gaining something out of this world. So all of a sudden, I believe now morality is a very subjective thing. And it's how people view morality. Because I always was the type of person that wanted to be on a straight line. I want to live my life a certain way. I remember earlier in the podcast, I spoke about how when we turn 16, everyone goes their different routes. And you start to see where people's morality lies. And people go certain ways in life and they still achieve certain things out of life. And a lot of times morality doesn't really go to with it. So what's the real? I know I'm getting very deeply philosophical now.
That's what we're about, man. Let's do that.
It's like, it makes me, one part of naivety is making me realize that morality is a very subjective thing in terms of how people view morality, in terms of what they'll basically do to get to where they want to be in life. But at the same time, I realize that morality does play a part in the way we live our lives, because it's about how you feel with yourself. So even going back again to the idea of success, how do you define success for yourself? Is how you feel about the person you're going to be by the end? Or is it going to be what you achieve in this world? So for me, I feel like my idea of success is I want to become a person that I'm proud of by the end of everything that I'm doing. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And not really in society's standards and society's perception of how they view success, and more in my own internal metrics of how I view success.
Yeah.
So going back to the point of about charity and stuff like that, is as if now it's gotten to the case where now I know that the way people view morality is very different in this world. Okay, how do I fit in this world now? Now, all of a sudden, my ideas of success have been basically broken down. And like, that's why, again, I spoke about how my videos and self-improvement for me, in terms of my videos, is continuously changing, because my way of viewing the world is continuously changing. Because as I came into the idea of creating, I thought, all right, cool, look, I want to be successful. I want to reach something. I feel a bit inadequate in certain areas of myself. So let me create something so I look presentable in front of the eyes of the world. Let me create this profitable business in YouTube and whatever. That's my initial aspirations. But then I started to realize that doesn't correlate with actual, happiness and feeling good about yourself, For me, the idea of success for me is that obviously creating a profitable business, but also helping people, that you're doing, providing impact. But I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine, it's fine. Yeah, go on.
Leo, might as well talk for a little bit. I want to talk about intention, man.
You want to talk about intention?
Yeah, because like it kind of goes up to moral code thing. Obviously, moral code is subjective in it, but intention is just is what determines someone's kind of person. How you define a person. I was talking about like intention in it. So like it kind of goes off moral code and your intention is such a powerful thing, man.
Yeah,
I think your intention, it fuels realism of your actions and whatnot. You feel me?
I think intention is just internal. So I think it's really difficult to see what the other. So for instance, like if I was to start looking at other people's intentions, I feel like obviously sometimes you can see it through actions and whatnot. So that's one way to kind of see it, like it's visible in that way. But I think intention is just more for ourselves. It's like what do we intend to do or be? And I think I like going back to this thing of the integrity. And it's what Xavier was saying, just like it's it's what you do behind closed doors and no one's watching. You know what I'm saying? I think that's really powerful. But yeah.
No, I agree. Because like, especially my ideas of success and my ideas about life in general have been broken down so many times as I've gone on this journey of like learning more about who I am and what the world actually is. So my initial stage, again, as I said, my initial stage is I want to be successful. I want to have a big house. I want this. But then I started to realize how little it correlates with actual peace, I remember reading one of my favorite Ryan Holiday books, Stillness is the Key. He spoke about how, nobody said that reaching out of poverty and improving your life is a bad thing. But he says, quoting him, he says, the issue is when we think these activities address spiritual poverty. Because another quote which he said, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, he says, most people fail to realize that their achievements are not going to be able to plug even the tiniest hole in a person's soul. And it's like, the reason why I believe in morality, and although I have an idea that people see morality as subjective, but I don't see morality as subjective, because the thing about morality, I believe, integrity is the way you view yourself. And if you live a life with no integrity, you're plugging holes in your spirit. Because nobody feels better than a person that can go back at the end of the day knowing that they did no harm to this earth and they're living how they should live. Do you get what I'm saying?
Like people are living true to themselves.
Yeah, exactly that. And that's why it's that idea of, when I was younger as well, my idea was, if you sold your soul, But when you look deeper, the reason people sold their soul is because they compromise all their values to become someone on this earth. So the idea of success is, I want to become someone, and they become someone and realize that they're only successful in the eyes of everyone else, but not to themselves. And really, at the end of this life, is the relationship you have with yourself is what determines who you become and how you objectively look at your life. Like, I don't want to be that guy who's a millionaire but is depressed and hates his life and hates what he's doing. Do you get what I'm saying? I want to be someone who's proud of what they've accomplished out of life, knowing that it's in accordance to their core values. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why, as you said on your previous podcast, you say integrity is about what you do behind closed doors. And I think that's so true. That's why now, breaking down my naive perspective again, I look at the world and I look at what people do and their intention behind it. It makes me question life a little bit more. And it also makes me feel more at peace with myself, because now I look at other people and like, you've amassed this great wealth and you've done this great thing and you've got all these status symbols, but let me break down the way I'm perceiving you and break you down as an actual human being. Let me judge you as who you are as a person. So I want to see, how's your relationship with your family? How do you treat the people you're around? I feel like this journey of, self-improvement, self-development is a journey of becoming more human. I don't look at you by the things you wear, by the status symbols you have. I look at you as, how do you treat me in a certain situation? How, if we was good to go to a restaurant, how would you treat the waiter? because at the end of this life, you know, you're gonna die and all your money's gonna go.
Yeah, facts.
But what's the impact you're gonna leave?
But then someone would debate and say that the reason they're doing it is so they can leave it for their kids. Some people would say that, but actually, I think people just enjoy the process. I think if when you reach a certain level of wealth in the world, I think it just becomes a game. It's like, you know, like a numbers game. Like you can make more money, and I feel like for that level of people, it's just more of like an ego thing, right? So they're just playing a game of like, cool, I'm gonna make like 1 billion there, 2 billion there, and just like who's making more money. And because at that point, like they got crazy stupid wealth. It's like they don't need anything else from that money, because like they can literally have access to any resource they want at that point, right? So it's like, what else are they doing it for? You know, and they would say, yeah, we're doing it for our kids. But I think they just enjoy the process.
Yeah. That's like, it's very true. At the same time, though, I feel like, and this is just my personal opinion.
Yeah, no, that's like, what we're talking about.
I feel like as much as you enjoy the process, you also need to think about impact, because I know, you know, some people might enjoy the process of the art they're creating, but their art might not be impacting people in the best way.
Yeah.
And that lies with integrity. I want to make sure that the things I create, as much as I love the process, is impacting people positively. So especially with my videos now, I've tried to look at the lens of people. Like, if you are someone that's watching this video, I want to make sure that you leave this video inspired. I want to make sure that you leave this video thinking, wow, I just watched this video and it's making me want to have a positive change in my life. I don't want to be the person that, you know, and I feel like this is a very big thing in society. A lot of times people think I'm showing you all the status symbols I have, this big chain, this nice clothes, this big car, as a means to motivate you. But when you really look at the intention behind, you think they're only doing it to gratify their own ego at the expense of someone that's looking behind that screen and thinks, oh, I'm fucking worthless.
And maybe that's their metrics of success. Like maybe the metrics of success is shit. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's how they measure it. They think like, oh, I've got a chain or whatever. You know, I've got like 3 girls' numbers today. Like I'm this guy. You know, maybe that's how they measure it. You know, and that's what I'm saying. It's beautiful to actually come across people nowadays where their measurements are entirely different. You know what I'm trying to say? Like someone go like, yeah, like I'm trying to learn about the world. I'm trying to learn about myself. And I'm like, that's how I'm measuring it. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, rather than how much money I'm going to make. But don't get me wrong. I think money is important.
Oh, 100%,
and I think I used to kind of be a little bit on kind of like money doesn't matter side. But I think in the last few years, I'm like, yo, actually money is important. But the only reason money is important because when I'm in a situation to have more money and do more things with it, I can then bring more value to other people. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's all about how we utilize stuff. It's all about, you know, like, cool, like we've got this opportunity there. So how are we going to utilize that, you know?
I feel like the same thing with me. Like, especially when this only recently, my perception of money has changed. So as, you know, getting into the self-improvement space, I was like, you know, I'm not going to focus on money. I'm going to focus on my philosophical principles. I'm going to focus on my productivity and all those different types of stuff. But one person who's actually my financial mentor, but is also a very, very, very close friend, taught me this, and it hit me really hard. He says, as soon as you get your NI number, you're in a money game. So as much as you don't like it, money is very important. And the intention behind why I'm creating that wealth is where my problem really was, because I used to think that the only reason why I'm going to amass big wealth is just so that I can look better than everyone else. But how little that correlates with actual peace and happiness and impact is wild.
But there's always going to be another person who's got bigger wealth than you, right? And then there's always someone else that's got something better. Like it doesn't stop, you know. And
that's why it was like, I had such a negative perception of money. I was thinking I'm only really chasing money as a vanity metric. But then again, I broke down my naive perspective and I thought, you know what? Money matters in this world, because money is an automatic signifier of value. If I can pump a lot of money into my production process and the videos I'm making, for example, this setup right now is very professional. If I was to come in here and try to speak on this podcast and the setup wasn't as nice as this, I don't know if I'd be able to try my hardest to be able to produce value on this certain thing. So it's obvious that money is very important. Also, when it comes to money, you can obviously tell the difference between a podcast. You'd rather watch a podcast with high production value than a podcast. For example, a podcast like this. I'd rather watch a podcast like this than a podcast of me putting my phone on a tripod and speaking in a live mic connected to my neck. Do you get what I'm saying? So money does matter, but the intention behind money is where, you know, I want to start to question, because I don't want to be amassing big wealth so that when someone flicks on my Instagram profile, they feel like shit about themselves and hate themselves because of it. I want to amass wealth so that I can make a video that's very inspiring to people. But going back to what I said initially, that's one of the reasons why I had such a negative perception of money, because I used to think the only reason why people are amassing wealth is that I can look better than other people. But that's not what my intentions or what I want to create in this space.
Have you lot heard that thing that Money May said recently about the whole 24 hours thing? Like everyone's got the same 24 hours.
Yeah.
I want to put a spin on that. Instead of saying that, I want to say everyone's £1 coin is worth the same amount. Your £1 coin, your £1 coin, and my £1 coin is worth the same amount. It's worth £1. You feel me? So it's not about its value, it's about what you do with it, right? Which is what you were basically trying to say.
Yeah. Do you know what? Just on that Molly May situation, I don't want to talk about it too much.
Controversial.
No, I don't want to talk about it too much here, but what I'm going to say is like everyone's got different opinions. I think the whole like backlash or some people are supporting whatever. It's literally humanity. It's like people
we
see
understand the
things
intention.
different way.
We understand the intention.
So you know what? So even on that one, I don't even feel like I need to. Obviously, that's not what we're doing here, but I don't feel like I need to express myself or even give my opinion on it, because I already know that regardless of what I say, there's going to be people that's going to disagree with what I say, and some people who's going to agree with it. It's just like, it's almost like there's no point. It's like talking about, it's like saying like, something is like red, and then someone saying something is blue, and it's just like,
what's that thing that Keanu Reeves says? He says, I'm in a position in my life where I know what's right, and no matter how much you try to convince me that 2 + 2 is 6, you know what, 2 + 2 is 6, cool. Have a good day.
Because it's like a detachment, like
yeah.
you don't care. It's so crazy how the way the world has become now is like, I feel like as much as we're in this creative space and it's great that we can create content and put it out there and create value, but it's also on the other side, there are people that can bring a lot of uneducated, opinions about nonsense that could really fill people's brains up with rubbish.
And they've got platforms, and I think, and you know what it is, yeah? I feel like I had this thought yesterday. Like there's people out there who have like strong opinions, right? Like ZZ Mills would be one of them, right? So, and I think, like I said before, like everything's got pros and cons, and I'm not saying people that have got strong opinions are wrong. I'm just saying that sometimes people that got strong opinions can impact people that don't have them a lot. And that's not always a good thing, you know what I'm trying to say? Because there's a lot of people out there who don't really have their own opinion on certain things, and they don't really try to develop one. So they might listen to one person talk about something who's very strong opinion can't even say it. Opinionated. No, this is opinionated. Yeah, thank you very much. And then it would impact that person a lot.
Yeah, but because it's like what I think it was Bob that said it.
Up it. Sorry, my anyway.
It's like what Bob said. It's not. I'm not listening to what you're saying. I'm listening to what I'm hearing. You feel me? Like no matter like Money May could be the best example. The fact that got backlash was so confusing to me, because it's true. Everyone does have 24 hours in a day. It's like how you experience it is different, cool. But essentially, she's trying to say, oh yeah, if you work hard, you eventually get there as well. But is this people didn't listen to her speaking? They listened to how they received it, which is normal. Like everyone receives information through a filter that I feel is called your ears and your brain. So it's just it doesn't matter what you say. It just matters how it's been
you know
received.
what? Yeah, on that one, I think a lot of people had an issue with not what she said. They were saying they had an issue with like her background, so like where she comes from, that she's more privileged and she can't be saying things like that. However, though, I recognize in life, we all got different starting points, innit? Some people start with more, some people start with less. But no one can ever knock away the fact that someone's done something with something. Like there was that meme going around time ago, with Donald Trump saying, I started my business with a small loan of $1 million from my dad. Yeah. But you know what, give that 1 million to someone else. Let's see if they can build the same empire. You know what I'm trying to say? Like don't ever knock away someone's hustle. They just had a different starting point. But it doesn't mean like people go like, oh, if I had like 100,000, I would create this business and it would be so successful that I would make more money. Actually, you might fail. Like you might lose all the 100,000. You know what I'm saying? So it's that people should just not. I guess people are just too quick to
respect it. Just have respect for what you don't know. Respect what you don't know. I think that's the best way to say it. Like I don't know Donald Trump's grind. Don't get me wrong. I don't agree with his philosophies and whatnot and his perspective, but I don't know his grind. I don't know Money-May's grind. Like, yeah, cool. Money-May has privileges, but some of them aren't just given to her. Some of them are built and worked for.
You know, my favorite question, yeah, in life in general, yeah, it's like, what are you gonna do about it? You know, like like a lot of people talk about stuff, and there was, you know, like when COVID started, yeah. So I remember like me and my friend was having this conversation, but he was basically talking about like the conspiracy of like 5G towers. You know, when everyone was like burning out 5G towers, like, yeah, 5G towers are spreading COVID and so on. I wonder why they stopped doing that now, but it's kind of funny. But yeah, anyway, so it was like telling me, it's like, yeah, like sending me messages, like conspiracy messages. I said, you know what? I said, what are you going to do about it? I said, if you going to burn, by the way, just as a disclaimer, I've never burnt down a tower, yeah. But I was just like, if you want to go do something, let's do something. It's like, what are you going to do about it? Like people go like, oh, someone's privileged. Like, cool. What are you going to do about that? You know, it's like, what is the action that you're going to be taking place in your life to do something, to make a difference within your own life and maybe impact that as well? You know what I'm saying?
But don't you feel like, as a deeper question, don't you think that's really scary as a society, the way we're going? It's almost as if we live in an echo chamber. Let's be real. The people we follow a lot of the times are going to influence our opinion. So it's almost as if, what direction is the world really going? All of a sudden, someone can have, you know, a big social status and say an unsolicited opinion. For example, there are 5G towers behind my house. It might not even be true. It might just be a phone tower. We need to go burn it down. All of a sudden, 200,000 people have gone and burned it down because that person has so much influence over your perceptions and opinions. It's like, where is the world going? It's only a matter of time before someone grabs all of that.
But this is why I'm all about, and you talk about self-improvement.
Yeah.
And for me, it's all about like self-empowerment, right? So we're initially talking about the same thing in one way or another. But for me, things come through the power of questions, right? And I think this is what people need to start doing. They need to start asking questions. So when someone goes like, oh, these towers or whatever, are like spreading COVID and like, let's burn it down. Then I think if people start asking the question, like, if I'm going to burn this tower down, is it going to add value? You know, if they ask that one simple question, if I'm going to do this thing, is that going to add value? And then they need to start asking themselves, what does value mean to me? You know what I'm trying to say? So if there's a series of bunch of different questions that they can start figuring out stuff and who they are, like, I think people are going to stop like following certain people and go like, rah, like, you know what I mean? So I think power of questions is really important.
Yeah. And I feel like, especially in terms of the power question, is very important. It's something I've been doing recently now, is questioning, why are you so influenced by this person? You know, for example, and it's another question is, where is this opinion coming from? I don't know if you've ever had it where you've read something online, completely forgot about it, but all of a sudden coming up a conversation, you're using your own opinion. You're basically saying something as your own opinion, but then you realize, oh, hold on, this is something that I read online.
Exactly.
This can't even be true. Do you get what I'm saying? So part of self-improvement is questioning your beliefs, questioning the way you're viewing certain things, whether it's right 100%. Or wrong. You know, I feel like as a society is getting better, no doubt. You know, no doubt.
Because I think information is more accessible now. So, but then also that's also at the same time, that's a downside too, because depending on where we're accessing the information, and what we're accessing as well.
One thing I realize is that when it comes to seeking wisdom and seeking information, it's important not to seek wisdom for the purpose of just backing up what you already know. That's just insanity. For example, using the example, while everyone at the time of Hitler, obviously when Hitler went to prison and he made Mein Kampf, and everyone thought this was like this intellectual gem, but really it's only him regurgitating his beliefs, is regurgitating what he already believes. That's not wisdom. That's just insanity. That's just you. That's a closed feedback loop. All of a sudden, you're not trying to learn from the world. you're just trying to pump up what you think you already know. So it's important that when you're going out there to seek wisdom, don't seek wisdom for the purpose of backing up what you think you already know. It's important to go into places and learn things that might challenge what you initially thought.
It's all about not being biased towards something. And I think this is why on this podcast in general, I try to have conversations where I'm not biased about certain things. And also just in general on a level where like I've been developing myself, like I've been very like conscious of like what is a fact, you know, what's factual and what is it that I'm attaching narrative to, you know what I'm trying to say. It's like if someone goes like shut up, you know what I'm trying to say. The fact is that someone says shut up, but then I can interpret it in so many different ways. Like someone's bantering, maybe someone's like being rude, you know what I'm trying to say. So there's so many different ways to interpret that. But the fact is just someone just said that, you know what I'm trying to say. So it's always good to look at what the fact is and what am I attaching a narrative to. But yeah, anyways, we're coming to an end. And there's one question we like to ask every single person that comes on the show. Actually, before that, do you want to promote anything? Do you want to plug something?
I don't really have anything going on. Well, my YouTube channel, I upload self-development, philosophy, different just videos about stuff I've come across and read during the week, and I create a video about it. One of my most recent videos that I made was my most recent one. What was it about again? I'm trying to think. It wasn't a Malcolm X one. It was a different one. It was about J. Cole and the idea of creative integrity. So my topics are expanding, but anyway, my YouTube, I upload Monday daily.
But what's your YouTube?
Oh, my YouTube, Jonathan Doku, like my name.
So we're gonna put it in the description and whatnot. But also, I feel like you downplayed it a bit. Like, definitely go check out his videos, because they're really, really good. Shit. And I think most importantly, they'll make you think, and that's an important process to have in life as well.
Appreciate it.
And so the question is, well, Aladdin, should I rephrase it? Always have the back and forth and that.
Well, do your thing, man. At this point, just do your thing, man.
All right, cool. So just imagine, 2 years from now, like you managed to get on TV, or you know what? TV died, but you have the biggest YouTube channel in the whole world, and basically everyone subscribed to your channel, so the whole population subscribed there, and you're gonna make one last video, and you're not making another video afterwards, and you're gonna leave one message in that video. What are you gonna tell to your audience?
The foundation of everything is understand that the mind that you have right now is not the mind that you're going. So basically, let me try to word this properly. People, I'll just tell you that people get the mind and brain that they deserve through the actions in their life. So whatever you do in your life, choose wisely, because depending on how you use your mind and depending on what actions you take will determine where you end up in life. As much as people say life is very much out of our control, life is 1% what happens to you and 99% with what you do with it. Because judging about where I'm going to be in about 2 years, I know that I'm going to be in a better position than I am right now. And that's all to do with the actions I've taken to get there. So it's almost as if I think that never submit to your environment thinking that it's over, because it's not, because any obstacle that you find in your life can be an advantage. Use an example, Malcolm X went to prison for 6 years for burglary and transformed himself in that prison cell. There was times where it was 12 o'clock at night and the guards shut down all the lights. He wanted to continue reading, so he sat beside his bunk and he used the light in the corridor to make sure that he could see the letters in his book. All of a sudden, he left prison and basically started the anti-racist movement. That's him turning an obstacle into his advantage, Using the example, I'm sure Aladdin can relate to this one. During the pandemic, 2020 pandemic, I was so focused on my exams thinking that was the guarantee of what I wanted to do in life. And then all of a sudden, my exams got cancelled. And you got to think, I failed my first year sixth form, so this was the last chance for me to get those A-levels. I could have just sat there and thought, you know what, that's my life done. But I used the obstacle to my advantage, and I use that time to learn about myself. I use that time to focus on what I like doing. I rekindled with my love for creating and stuff like that. So it's just understanding that the obstacle is the way.
Yeah,
you know, every obstacle you have in your life can be flipped to your advantage, and you can make something out of it. You know, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now speaking to you guys if it wasn't for the 2020 pandemic, allowing me to learn about what I truly love doing and what I truly like to do, about what I wanted to do in my life. So you could use the example of Malcolm X sitting in that prison for 6 years for armed robbery. You know, he was black in the worst system ever, you know, the most racist system ever. He was a criminal and he was sat in jail. He was a drug addict as well. He was addicted to opioids, and he was addicted to cocaine as well. Who's the Malcolm X that we know right now? Malcolm X, the leader and the one, he started the anti-racist movement, you know. When it was the pandemic, I remember them talking about all the economic policies they want to have, like keep money in the black community. That all started with Malcolm X. And that was a man who flipped his life around and turned an obstacle into his advantage to come out a far more redeemed person. So it just shows all the actions in your life. It's basically all down to you. You get the brain that you deserve through the actions you take in life. So choose wisely.
You know, what I love about the human instinct is when the human is desperate, there's a way.
Oh yeah.
When a human brain is desperate, there's always a way.
Is that quote? When a man has a why, he can suffer anyhow.
Jeez.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like that.
So as long as you have a strong why, or like a strong reason why you're doing something, all the obstacles you face in your life can be flipped to your advantage. You know, there's a lot more to the world than your surroundings. You know what I'm saying? So take the right action in life and seek wisdom. Try your best to seek wisdom and learn from other people, learn from books, learn from all those type of things, and flip that, you know, obstacle into your advantage.
Love that.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, much gratitude for coming down. Came down all the way from Nottingham.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
Can't
man.
lie, it's a great experience.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, for all the listeners, and if anyone's watching on YouTube, just comment and just let us know what you enjoyed. Share it with your friends, share it with your mum. And have a blessed day and a blessed week.